Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. We're going to be talking about resume development today, but before we get started, you should find a link in the description of the Facebook Live or here on the slide that will give you access to our handouts for this presentation. These handouts will help you remember some key terms from the presentation and provide some templates that'll help you get started on sprucing up your resume. That being said, taking some time to update your resume is a good idea, whether you're looking for work or if you're currently employed. So today we'll share some tips and tricks to help spruce up that resume, and we'll take questions at the end in case you have anything that comes up during the presentation. So let's talk about some key terms when it comes to resume building. These key terms can be found in handout number 1 in the link provided earlier. Many of these terms may be familiar to you, but it's a handy review just in case you haven't done anything with your resume in a long time. So just as a review, a resume is a short written history of a person's education, and that includes where they went to school. It'll include their work experience and any other qualifications or certifications for employment. Second, cover letter. This is a letter that's sent with another document that's explaining the contents. It's an introduction to your resume. It's a good chance to tell your story in sentence format instead of having to write it out in resume format, which is a little bit less friendly looking. Third is references. So this is someone who can comment on your personal character, your work history, or work experience. Most of the time, references are people who are not family members. That's a mistake that we have seen in the past with resumes. It's usually somebody that you have worked for in the past. Next up is credentials, a qualification, achievement, personal quality, or an aspect of a person's background. That one's pretty self-explanatory. Then number 5 is career objectives. So you'll want to put your motivation and your goal for getting that job in that particular section. Number 6 is work experience. So experience that a person has gained while a person has worked in a specific field or occupation. 7, specialized skills. These are specific skills or abilities that an individual may have that's pertaining to a specific job qualification. Number 8, relevant. This is an important word to remember while you're putting a resume together because you want to keep what you're putting together relevant to the job that you're looking for. So it means it's closely connected to the matter at hand. Number 9, qualifications. An accomplishment or quality that makes someone suitable for a particular job. Number 10, and these next few are some specific types of resumes, so it might be handy to keep these in mind as you're going through yours or maybe creating multiple resumes that might focus on different lines of work. Functional resume is a resume that focuses on skills and experiences. A targeted resume is a resume that's geared toward a specific job, and a chronological resume is a resume arranged by job title in reverse chronological order. So you can review those key terms in handout number 1 at your convenience at the link provided. So some tips and guidelines for writing your very best resume. Professionalism is really important to convey through your resume. It should be very clear and easy to read. Remember that employers will only look at your resume for a few seconds on that very first reading. So make sure that your resume stands out and gets noticed. Online templates are available for developing personal resumes, and these can be found in a variety of websites and in a variety of designs. Resumes should, number 1, be brief and concise. The major emphasis should be on your education and experience. Prioritize the information according to the relevance to the job. Make sure that the information you include enhances your qualifications for the job that you are interested in. Number 2, name and contact information. Make sure to use a large enough font size for your name so that it can be read easily from a distance. Your name should be the largest thing on the paper. Also, make sure that you have a professional email address. Number 3, education. The education section should be near the top. In this section, state that your specific degree and/or any certifications that you might hold. Number 4, work experience. The work experience section is next and should include relevant and related work highlighting skills and responsibilities. This is a power section where the employer is looking for experience and skills that match up to their needs. Number 5, emphasize what you did. Use power verbs and describe what you did in your previous jobs, your duties, your responsibilities, and your work accomplishments. This is the most important part of your resume, showing what you have done and what you are capable of in another opportunity. Handout 1 has a list of power verbs that you might consider using in your resume. Number 6, action words and sentence fragments. Be brief and start each sentence with an action verb explaining the action that you did. The use of sentence fragments is allowed and encouraged. Bullet point and use a different action verb to start each new line. Number 7, use specific language. Make your language clear, concise, and specific. A resume is not a place to get too wordy. Number 8, avoid extraneous information. Do not include hobbies and interests on a professional resume unless they correlate with the job you're interested in or show how you might add benefit to the company. Anything extra should be recent. Do include related fieldwork or experiences, membership in related organizations, offices that show leadership, committee work that shows leadership, volunteer work, and honors, awards, and recognition. Number 9, should it be 1 page or 2? Usually, resumes should be 1 page unless absolutely necessary to show all of your related work and experiences, which could happen if you're a seasoned employee. Then it's 2 pages at maximum. Number 10, be simple and neat. Simple formatting is fine, but stay away from multiple indents and underlining on the same page. Make good use of the white space available. Your resume paper should look appealing and balanced. Use the tab key to set up the lines. Number 11, check, check, and check again. In no uncertain terms, your resume should be perfect. Number 12, use quality reproduction. If you print, use a quality printer on quality paper. A 20-pound weight and a soft neutral color are recommended. Present yourself as a mature and professional person. Number 13, references should be on a separate page. Pass out the references when you are asked for them. Make sure that you have asked your references ahead of time if you can use them. Also, there's no need to make a statement on your resume about references being available upon request. That's a given that people should have those. Don't share your list of references on an internet employment site. Here's a quick checklist as you're checking, checking, and checking again to make sure that your resume is in perfect shape. Is your resume printed on conservative paper that will photocopy cleanly? Having a slightly heavier weight paper can be really helpful for this. Does the word resume appear at the top of the page? It shouldn't. Do the section headings stand out? Is your name the largest item on the page? Are you using your space wisely? In some cases, your margins should not be too large and your items should not be spaced too far apart. So even though you want to use your space, you don't want to stretch things out and make things look kind of goofy in the process. Are your indentations even? Make sure to use your tab key instead of the space bar to make your indentations even. Are there any spelling errors or typos? This is absolutely unacceptable, so make sure that you're checking, checking, and checking again to make sure that everything is spelled correctly and your resume is typo-free. Is there consistency throughout on the use of headings and fonts? Are pronouns eliminated? Pronouns can make your descriptions more wordy than necessary, so it's a good idea to take those out. Does the word I appear? That's another one that shouldn't be in there. Are vague words such as various and numerous eliminated? Remember, be specific. Do descriptions begin with a variety of action words? Make sure to avoid repetition with these words when possible. If there's a second page, is your name and page 2 in the upper corner? This is important just in case those pages get separated. Making sure that all of your pages are labeled correctly to make sure that that's attached to your resume is important for your future employer to see everything that you have actually done. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about cover letters. Cover letters are not the same as a resume. A cover letter should not just repeat your resume information, but instead it should highlight you and your personality and interest in a particular job or the company in general. So here's some quick tips for writing cover letters. Make sure to keep it short. Less is more in this case. 3 paragraphs are plenty and there's no need for a long introduction. Who are you addressing? You can write, "Dear Joanna Smith," if you know that you're sending the cover letter to Joanna Smith. But if you don't know exactly who you're sending your information to, do not address anyone. Instead, just jump right into your letter. Use the PDF file format. Most all computer programs can read PDF documents. Not all computers can read Word documents, for example. Also, don't be generic. Never say, "Hello, my name is." They can read your resume and find your name. And then make sure to finish strong. Close with a strong statement about how your experience and background can help you in the job and how you can be an asset to the company. You can look for some online samples on websites like monster.com, forbes.com, and US News for some ideas and samples of cover letters. Many jobs that we apply for today are applied for online. So here are some quick tips for applying for jobs online. Make sure to read the job description. Make sure that you actually qualify for the job that you're applying for. Make sure that your cover letter is original and targeted. Showcase your personality and your qualifications. Match your keywords in your resume to the keywords in the job posting. When applying electronically, applicants are often filtered by those keywords. Responses. When answering questions, make sure that your responses are targeted and have 0 errors. Make sure to fill all the fields. Employers look for accuracy and completeness. If you choose to leave a field blank or skip it by accident, then you may be viewed as someone who doesn't pay attention to detail, which might not be true, but this is how you'll come across to the hiring manager. Also, a really important tip is to make sure to clean up your social media. Employers can, do, and will look at your social media accounts. Make sure that yours is professional and in good taste. Make sure that your email address is professional as well. For example, hottie@gmail.com is not an appropriate account to use on job applications and resumes. Make sure to check and review your writing several times before you send it, and make sure to have someone else read it over as well. Another important factor is to make sure you're following all of the online instructions that are spelled out in the application process. For example, if the online application tells you to upload your cover letter and resume as PDF files, do not upload them as Word documents. Just make sure you're following those guidelines. You can look online for samples and ideas for online applications at the same websites listed on the previous slide. Your great story begins with you and ends with you, so make it awesome. Writing a cover letter and a resume is not an easy task, but it's critical when you're trying to get a job. It's extremely important that you develop a skill set and competencies in writing clearly and concisely. Practice and experience will go a long way in helping you to develop an outstanding resume. There's a mountain of information available online and in bookstores to help you with your resume, but there are really just a few main rules to remember. Keep it simple, keep it neat, keep it clear and concise, use power words and verbs, show off what you did and what you can do, keep it relevant, and have absolutely 0 errors. Your great story begins with you and ends with you, so make it awesome. We thank you for your participation today. And again, if you're looking for those handouts, you can find them on our Purdue Extension Montgomery County website, and you should be able to find that link in our Facebook Live description.
All right, Ashley, we have a few questions in the chat box.
All right.
The first one is if I have too much work experience to fit onto one page, but only really want to keep it at one page, what type of jobs should I highlight?
So based on the advice that we've given here, keeping the most relevant jobs on that one-page resume is important, but also keeping those jobs recent is important. So it can be kind of tough to figure out whether to put down something that's more recent or whether to put down something that's more relevant. That's going to be a judgment call on your part. But if it were me, I would put down the jobs that are most relevant and just make sure that I'm highlighting in those particular jobs which skills are most relevant to the job at hand.
Okay. And then you were talking about not leaving any blanks on the application, but lots of times the application is identical to what's on my resume. So can I just put in those boxes, see my resume, instead of filling them in?
I think it depends on the online application. If it's an online application that requests that a resume be uploaded, but also has all of those fields filled in, I would go ahead and just fill in all those fields and attach the resume. It might seem like extra work, but because of the attention to detail and making sure to follow the rules of that online application, I would play it safe and fill in all of those blanks.
Okay, and that is all the questions we have had come in so far. So if anyone else has any more questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. All right, I'm not seeing any come in, so I think we will stop our live broadcast.
All right, thank you everyone, and good luck building up those resumes.